Please note that if you purchase something by clicking on a link within this story, we may receive a small commission of the sale. An emotional Kristen watches through the window as Brady and Rachel sit with Sarah inside the pub. At their table, Brady sends his daughter to wash her hands, so he can question Sarah about her initial reaction upon hearing that Sophia's baby was a girl. She was uncomfortable, just like she seems now. Is there something she needs to tell him? Sarah reminds him she can't violate HIPAA regulations. Brady takes that to mean there's something she knows. Sean interrupts them with news that the verdict is in, but they already know. Rachel returns and leaps into her Uncle Sean's arms. He shows her pictures of the baboons they saw and updates everyone on Claire, who is doing well after the breakup with Theo. In the courthouse corridor, EJ stresses to Marlena about Kristen not being there yet. She apparently has a foolproof plan to free Johnny. But if she doesn't show, he'll have no choice but to tell the judge that Rachel shot him. As court begins, Judge Dabney calls for the verdict. Leo puffs his chest and struts to her bench. EJ interrupts Leo's reading of the decision, which earns him a reprimand from the judge. But his disruption is nothing compared to Kristen, who bursts into court demanding to be heard. "I'm here to confess. I'm the one who shot my brother." A collective gasp travels through the courtroom. The judge calls a recess and orders Kristen to be taken into custody. In the corridor, Marlena worries to EJ that Rachel won't fare any better when her mother goes to prison for a crime she committed. EJ points out she doesn't remember that last part, and she certainly won't be hearing that detail from him. When EJ returns to the courtroom, Leo approaches Marlena and offers encouraging words over her worry about Rachel. In the judge's chambers, Kristen spins a tale to the judge and Belle about how she snapped and grabbed the gun that was on the table. She demanded EJ tell her where her mother was. He reached for the gun, and it went off. She didn't mean to shoot him, but she wiped the gun clean and hid it. She didn't call for help because she was in shock, but now she's ready to take responsibility for what she's done. The judge has Sean called in to arrest Kristen for attempted murder. As he leads her out, Kristen pauses to exchange a fraught look with EJ. EJ returns to the courtroom where the case against Johnny is dismissed. When court's adjourned, Johnny and Chanel share a tender moment. Johnny rebuffs EJ's attempt at congratulations and leaves with his family. Belle tells her ex she's thrilled for Johnny, but she's sorry it happened this way, as is EJ. More than you'll ever know. She, too, leaves him alone in the courtroom. Back at the pub with Sarah and Brady, Rachel wonders how long they have to wait to hear about Johnny. She prays he doesn't go to jail. Belle arrives as they're about to eat burgers. She reports the good news and pulls Brady outside to tell him Kristen confessed. In a newly designed interrogation room, Sean cuffs Kristen to a chair when Marlena shows up. When he steps out, Marlena sternly tells Kristen she can't do this. Kristen believes this is the only way to keep both Rachel and Johnny safe. Marlena relents. She promises to stay quiet and to take care of Rachel. She doesn't know if Rachel will ever remember the truth, but if she does, she will make sure she gets the help that she needs. Kristen tears up, knowing everyone, including Brady, will hate her for this. But it's a sacrifice she's willing to make. Marlena is impressed by her selfless act. DOOL. Spoiler alert! Here's your sneak peek at what's happening in Salem from Monday, August 25th to Friday, August 29th, 2025. Stream Peacock every weekday to see how everything plays out on Days of Our Lives. Brady confronts Kristen. EJ tries to throw Chad off the scent. Leo has a frosty run-in with Gwen. Kat clues Rafe in. Marlena consoles a devastated Rachel. Belle warns Philip. Alex and Jada share an awkward encounter. Stephanie and Xander discuss her PR plan. Ari demands answers from Gabby. Abe reveals to Paulina that he's got a new gig. Kayla makes a suggestion to Stephanie. Brady shares his suspicions with Steve. Alex apologizes to Sarah. Tate and Holly have a surprise run-in with Sophia. Gabby takes matters into her own hands. Alex advises Xander. Philip and Belle bond. Johnny and Chanel's romantic plans get interrupted. Sarah vents to Marlena. Holly confronts Sophia. Kayla gives Steve a hint. Brady gets unsettling news. Viewers that tuned in to see today's August 22nd episode of Days of Our Lives didn't get to find out what verdict the jury turned in, but rather witnessed Kristen making the ultimate sacrifice for her daughter. EJ and Marlena know that Kristen is innocent and that Rachel is guilty, but everyone remained silent as Kristen was arrested for murder. It all went down just as Leo was about to read the jury's verdict. First, EJ interrupted, then in came Kristen, who announced that she had shot her brother. After she was taken into the judge's chambers, Kristen explained that she hadn't meant to shoot her brother. She only wanted to know what happened to her mother. However, when EJ reached for the gun, it went off. She'd been in shock. That's why she didn't call for help, but now, she was ready to face the music. We're not sure if she expected the judge to say, "Better late than never," and just let her go. But in the end, Kristen was charged and taken away on attempted murder. Marlena and EJ felt her pain, but Brady, well, he felt nothing but rage as he stared at his ex through a jail cell. So, what does this mean for Kristen? Will she head off the canvas and do years behind bars at Statesville, or will Rachel remember what happened and set her mother free? Or will someone find out the truth and turn all their worlds upside down? Vote your thoughts. As Salem processes the shock of Johnny being exonerated and Kristen confessing to shooting EJ, it's time to take a closer look at how the fallout affects, well, just about everyone on Days of Our Lives. That's where Martha Madison enters the chat to give Soaps.com her take on Belle and EJ's relationship after that jaw-dropping conclusion. The cracks in their romance began to appear when EJ handed down his ultimate deception in the courtroom after an afternoon delight at the Salem Inn. The budding super couple's love stopped dead in its tracks. That's why we had to ask Madison if there was anything EJ could do to win Belle back, even a tiny morsel of reconciliation. Madison had a very firm answer for us. "I don't think so. The story is going to be told, but I think this is a very clear line in the sand," she says. "You know, he was willing to destroy her career, her reputation, to throw innocent people under the bus. I mean, that's as low as you can go." Madison thinks that kind of betrayal is hard to come back from for Belle. It was the last straw in their relationship. EJ had consistently put his personal interests ahead of her legal reputation, and as Feuerriegel told us in a separate interview, Belle is more conscientious and has a much better sense of morality than EJ. That's where the final clash really comes into play for them. Madison adds, "Belle was okay with all of these events that happened in years past, but I think for her, trust is everything, and she can't trust him. So, that's it for her." It may be the end of the road for Belle and EJ, but Madison promises that Salem will be feeling the impact of the case for a long time to come. The reason I love this story so much is because everyone has a very clear point of view, and everyone's interests are kind of intersecting, she says, and I think that's what makes great storytelling. Just because the trial is over does not mean everything returns to normal for all the parties involved, but it seems to be the end of Belle and EJ. Everybody's relationships change through this story, Madison teases, and I think that's why it's so good. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, August 22nd reveal that Sean Brady will arrest Kristen DiMera, while EJ DiMera keeps quiet about Rachel Black. Johnny DiMera will also walk free, so there'll be a lot happening in Friday's DOOL episode. In the courtroom, Johnny's trial will reach a shocking conclusion. Before EJ can reveal the truth about Rachel's guilt, Kristen will make the only move she has left and confess to shooting her brother. Of course, Days viewers know it was Rachel who pulled the trigger instead, but EJ's willing to keep his mouth shut about that if Kristen can get Johnny off the hook. EJ doesn't want to hurt Rachel either, so he'll be fine with Kristen taking the fall. Since Kristen is running out of time and doesn't have anyone else she can pin this on, claiming she shot EJ is the only thing she can do. Leo Stark will prepare to hand over the jury's verdict, but Kristen will confess to trying to wipe EJ off the map that night. Sean will ultimately place Kristen under arrest, but Belle Black may have a hunch that she's lying. Once Belle puts all the clues together, she may realize Rachel must be to blame and that Marlena Evans has figured it out. Speaking of Marlena, she'll face Kristen's emotional request on Friday's Days episode. It sounds like Kristen will beg Marlena to keep a lid on Rachel's guilt and just let Kristen take the fall. Other Days spoilers say, Brady Black will put Sarah Horton-Kiriakis on the spot. Brady can't stop thinking about Sophia Choi's slip of the tongue since she called the baby a boy instead of a girl. That got Brady thinking about Sarah's strange reaction when he gave her updates on Sophia supposedly having a daughter in Chicago. Brady will have more questions for Sarah on Friday's show, but she'll dodge them as best as she can and work to hide Sophia's deception. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Brady will seek all the latest Sophia news from Sarah, but she won't be able to give him all the answers he's looking for. Is Holly about to learn the truth? Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of August 25 to 29, 2025 teased Devasted Damaris and a long-awaited confrontation between teens. Now that Kristen has confessed to shooting her brother, it's turning the Damara family on its side. The week will start with Brady confronting his ex, while Marlena is left to console a devastated Rachel. Her mother just got arrested for a crime she doesn't remember she actually commit, and only Kristen, Marlena, and EJ know the truth. Now that Holly and Tate are back together, the rekindled relationship is keeping Tate distracted from constantly thinking about the daughter he didn't get to meet. But midweek, the couple are said to have a surprise run-in with Sophia. Sophia has been keeping a major secret about the baby, and whatever happens during this run-in, it will prompt Holly to end the week by confronting her former best friend. Could Holly be on to Sophia's secret? Elsewhere in Salem, on Tuesday, Abe will tell Paulina about a new gig. His previous one, resurrecting Body and Soul, didn't quite pan out, so what's the former police commissioner got up his sleeve this time? Meanwhile, Thursday brings Philip and Belle closer now that she's officially done with EJ. It's clear Philip wants her back, but EJ may not let her go that easily. EJ deflects Chad. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, August 25th. Pick up Friday's cliffhanger with Brady confronting Kristen in jail, wanting to know what the heck just happened, while Marlena comforts Rachel, all the while knowing exactly what just happened. Kristen confessed to shooting EJ in order to protect Rachel, the real culprit. EJ knows, and Marlena knows, but Kristen doesn't want anyone else to know. This includes Brady. Brady, for his part, has lots of questions for his baby mama. Starting with, how could Kristen do this to Rachel? Since Kristen can't explain that she's doing this for Rachel, she'll have to come up with more lies to cover the other lies. Good thing she's a pro. Meanwhile, Marlena has to calm down her granddaughter, reassuring her that her mommy loves her and that she isn't a bad person, without being able to explain how she knows. That doesn't seem very psychologically helpful for anyone. Chad is covering Johnny's trial, and Kristen's confession is obviously big news. Since the new shooter is Chad's sister, he goes to his brother, the victim, for clarification. But EJ isn't about to confess, not even to family, so he hedges and denies, which, for EJ, is basically just another day. And this is even before EJ finds out that Kat E., the woman Chad is kind of circling, is actually a secret agent out to bring down the Dimeras. While EJ snows Chad, Kat delivers all her intel to Rafe. Leo is free from jury duty. Now he can return to his regular life. This includes Gwen, who still does not want to forgive him. Dude really needs to let his one go. He slept with his best friend's husband. Gwen has every right to never speak to him again. And Leo needs to accept that. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Friday, August 22nd, indicate some interesting moments in the land of Salem. A trial comes to a close, while a character is ready to reveal the truth, and someone has questions. What's set to go down on Friday? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, August 20th hint that Johnny DiMera's trial will come to an unexpected close. DOOL fans, along with EJ DiMera, finally found out who shot him this week, and it turned out to be little Rachel Black. Now that the truth is out, Johnny will likely be exonerated, but not without a plot twist on the horizon. Across town, EJ will prepare to tell everyone the truth, which is why Johnny's trial will come to an end. With that said, will EJ tell the truth or a different version of it? All arrows point to the idea that Kristen DiMera will decide to take the fall to protect her daughter Rachel. Speaking of, Kristen will have a favor to ask of Marlena Evans. As Brady Black is living with Marlena, perhaps Kristen will ask Marlena to watch over Rachel while she heads to prison. Once again, Finally, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday reveal that Brady will question Sarah Horton Kyriakis. Is this about Sophia Choi and her baby? Sarah has been trying to encourage Sophia to come forward and tell the truth about her baby's adoption. However, she has yet to do so. Tate Black has been terribly upset about not getting to meet his baby, whom he thinks is a girl even though it's a boy. So will Sarah tell Brady the truth? She needs to be careful not to cross a HIPAA line, right? Days of Our Lives spoilers are in for Friday, August 22, 2025. Fans can expect Johnny DiMera to receive his verdict. Plus, Sean Brady arrests Kristen DiMera at the courthouse. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the next episode of the Peacock soap opera. In the next episode, Johnny will finally get his verdict. However, there will be some courtroom chaos. Kristen is running out of time as EJ DiMera now remembers it was Rachel Black who shot him that fateful night. EJ knows Rachel is a little girl, but won't sacrifice Johnny to protect her. With EJ about to drop a bombshell, Kristen has to make a sacrificial move to protect her little girl. That will lead to Kristen blurting out in court that she shot EJ before Rachel can be dragged away. Over with Kristen, she will get arrested by Sean. However, Belle Black might insist this doesn't seem right. Despite their history, Belle won't let an innocent person go to prison for a crime they didn't commit. Belle already has a hunch that EJ and Marlena Evans are both protecting someone. So, it might not take long before the lawyer figures it out. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Friday, August 22nd, reveal that Kristen will make an emotional plea to Marlena. So, that might involve Doc not saying anything and just letting Kristen do this for her daughter. Kristen might also beg Marlena to make sure Rachel gets the help she needs. With Marlena suddenly not returning to the hospital, maybe she will take charge of Rachel's mental health care. As for Sophia Choi, her lies are slipping. Brady Black won't be able to forget that Sophia called her baby a boy instead of a girl. Brady doesn't know what it means yet, but he will question Sarah Horton Kyriakis at the end of the week. With Sarah knowing the truth about Sophia's baby, she will once again pressure the teen to come clean. Also, Brady will be asking Sarah more questions. She initially agreed to keep quiet, but things are different now. Sarah can't keep this kind of secret from Brady and Tate Black, especially with how kind they have been to her lately. So, let's see what happens. Days of Our Lives sees Chanel Dupree was so disappointed when Johnny DiMera told her he wasn't ready to adopt Tate Black's and Sophia Choi's then unborn baby. However, with the trial behind them by the end of this week, everything could change. I'm wondering if we're going to get a twist where they end up adopting Tate and Sophia's baby, who is now known as Little Tesoro, the treasure. We're going to take a look at what is next for Johnny and Chanel. All right, this whole ordeal with everything Johnny found out about EJ DiMera has been really hard on him. This includes the awful stuff about what EJ did to Sammy Brady and the fact that Johnny is the product of a non-consensual situation between Sammy and EJ. That led Johnny to hold a gun on his dad. Then, that situation led to an attempted murder trial. He and Chanel have really been going through it for many months now. Not only is Johnny freedom at stake, but that deep fake video made Chanel look bad too. It could have gotten her arrested. Right now, the jurors are deliberating. That means this week, Johnny and Chanel lives hang in the balance. The trial is going to take a twist in Johnny's favor at the very last moment, right before the verdict is read. The charges have to be dropped because Kristen DiMera is going to confess to shooting EJ DiMera to save Rachel Black from juvie and more trauma. So, with the trial in their rearview mirror, will Johnny and Chanel reconsider their life plans? Will Johnny decide he's finally ready to start a family? They think Sophia's baby has already been adopted back in Chicago. But Chanel and Johnny also know there's an adorable foster baby in town, living with Javi Hernandez, Leo Stark, and Rafe Hernandez. The baby, Tesoro, is of course really Sophia and Tate's baby. We all know he's adorable, and Sophia really doesn't want to take back what she did, giving up the baby. EJ's reputation was a big issue for Amy Choi when it came to considering Johnny and Chanel as the couple that she might let adopt her unborn grandchild. If you recall, Amy and Sophia were over at the DiMera mansion when Gabby Hernandez burst into the room. She pulled a gun on EJ. She was ranting about him kidnapping Rafe. Of course, that didn't sit well with Johnny because she was ranting about his dad. This was just more things for him to feel awful about. It flat out stunned Amy and Sophia, who was desperate for her mom's approval so Johnny and Chanel would take her baby. Then, Chanel was finally able to smooth things over with Amy. DA Bell Black drew up adoption papers, and they were all ready to sign them. But then Johnny told Chanel he wasn't ready to become a father. Johnny felt like, with EJ's DNA in him, he'd be a bad dad. He thought he wasn't worthy of being a father, which was super sad. After some time and consideration and a short breakup, Chanel agreed with Johnny they could wait to start their family. But maybe, just maybe, their wait is over soon. You'll recall Sophia secretly gave birth to her baby and dropped him off at the Salem fire station. Tate and Sophia are both struggling now on Days of Our Lives. She's having a hard time keeping the truth from Tate while he pushes Sophia about never getting to meet their newborn. Plus, time is just about up for Tate or Sophia to reclaim Tesoro before he is put into the system. Javi and Leo are only short-term foster parents, but once the baby becomes a ward of the state, he will be eligible for adoption or placement in a permanent foster home. While I think Javi would love to adopt baby Tesoro with Leo, they just aren't in a position to do that right now. They're not married, don't own their own home, and haven't been dating very long. It seems like a long shot that they would get approved. With the shocking end of the trial and the charges dropped against Johnny, maybe he and Chanel will celebrate Johnny's new lease on life by moving forward with an adoption. In fact, Chanel and Johnny may want to start a family ASAP. A couple of things could happen that set it up for Chanel and Johnny to adopt Tesoro. First, Sophia's time to reconsider giving up her baby has just run out. That means Tesoro should be up for adoption. Chanel and Johnny could just work within the system, and they wouldn't even know they were adopting Sophia and Tate's baby. Or, Tate Black could learn the truth. Brady Black is kind of pressuring Sarah Horton this week, and she's kind of pressing Sophia. So Tate may still be okay with leaving his son with foster parents for now. Maybe Tate goes back to his cousin Johnny and his wife Chanel to ask them to rethink this. He could ask them to please adopt the baby. That way, Tate can still be part of Tesoro's life as the boy grows up. Tate can see his son while also moving on with his college plans, and Sophia can pursue all the things she wants to do. With Johnny cleared of attempted murder charges this week, the time could be right for Chanel dreams to come true. She might finally get to be a mom. Dr. Sarah Horton told Chanel that her latest test results mean she still can't try to get pregnant herself. Right now, adoption is the only way for Johnny and Chanel to have a baby and start a family. Of course, a lot of things need to fall into place before adoption talks are back on the table for Johnny and Chanel. In the end, I think it would be fantastic if Johnny could just forget about the trial and put his dad EJ awful antics behind him. Johnny should focus on what he and Chanel want for themselves. They need to focus on how they want their marriage to proceed and think really long and hard about what their future together looks like. Does their future include adopting? Does it include adopting a baby or a toddler? Or maybe someone a little older? Given how young they are, I would assume they would want a baby. But it would definitely be fantastic if things worked out for all of them. Tate and Sophia would know their baby Tesoro is in a good home. Johnny and Chanel could make the dream come true of starting a family. Johnny would make his wife Chanel so happy if he agreed they could adopt this baby, whether they know it's Tate and Sophia baby or not. I think all of this would help Chanel get past her frustration over the fact that she keeps being denied the chance to start a family through natural pregnancy. We could very well see big life changes for all four of them: Chanel, Johnny, Tate, and Sophia. By the time winter sets in Salem, we might see a fresh start. I will say one thing: if Johnny did move ahead and adopt a baby, I think it would either push him further apart from EJ because he wouldn't understand how EJ could make the choices he makes, knowing that it could affect his kids' lives. Or it could make Johnny soften toward EJ as he sees what it means to be a dad, and to want to protect your child at all costs. Welcome to the Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. In all of our decades of watching soaps, we have seen countless trials where we know the defendant is innocent. More often than not, the person is found guilty, goes to jail for a few short months, and eventually, the real culprit is found. One thing we have never seen before during these trials is the jury deliberations. So Days of Our Lives presented us with a first during Johnny's trial. Of course, the deliberations turned comical with Leo Stark as the jury foreman, and his sequestration roommate as that one holdout, creating a hung jury. We admit, we thought back on all the guilty verdicts delivered in dramatic fashion and wondered if they were the result of a bunch of townspeople who just wanted to go home. We were not surprised to see that Leo would be the one juror truly taking his job seriously, as Leo has that investigative mind, while also understanding what it's like to spend time behind bars. After all, he spent many years as a con man. He had a point that EJ painted a ton of reasonable doubt, and there was no physical evidence that Johnny shot his father, which we said from the start when Jada arrested for no real reason. But we also thank Days for handing us a different kind of trial and springing for a courtroom set to get the job done. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full DOOL recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. The Days legacy character has been one hot topic lately, Days of Our Lives. Julie Williams is a fierce protector of her family. However, not all fans see her that way, and some are coming for the legacy character. Julie isn't hiding her hatred for whatever is happening with Chad and Kat. A recent conversation Julie had with Marlena had one Days fan posing an interesting question on Reddit. The Reddit thread asked, "Are you guys tired of Julie being a miserable old crab? Time for the character to switch gears." This opinion got viewers buzzing. I kind of like that she holds grudges. Sometimes soap characters are way too forgiving. I loved her reaction to finding out Chad was with Kat in the elevator, said one fan. A different fan declared, "Mad Julie is more fun than Sad Julie," while another fan shared, "Nope, I love Julie just as she is." Not everyone was Team Julie. Oh God, yes! All of the Hortons are so self-righteous and judgy, but Julie is the queen, wrote a fan. I can't stand her. She's awful, and it makes her acting really, really cringy. I miss the old, sweet, caring Julie, shared another fan. Several fans, though, wanted to make it clear that Julie's behavior has nothing to do with the amazing and talented Hayes. Susan Seaforth Hayes is a wonderful actress with great range. She can really play up or down to all the various emotions of the human spirit, read part of one comment. Despite the differences in opinion on Julie's behavior, fans could agree that Julie needs to get a life. Yes, she's still reeling from the loss of Doug, but Julie needs to focus on something besides Chad and his kids. Now that Julie is buying the bookstore, we hope it will lead to a new mystery for her. Giving Julie her own storyline on the Peacock soap would certainly add more depth to the character, and we are here for it. Where does Brady fit in? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, August 22nd. Bring a verdict for Johnny's trial. Meanwhile, EJ has ammunition to exonerate his son. Kristen begs Marlena for help with her daughter, and Brady wonders what Sarah knows about his. EJ has finally remembered who shot him. It was Rachel. That's the she he was trying to protect. EJ was also trying to protect his son. Now the jury, led by Leo, of all people, is about to render a verdict. EJ has ammunition to save his son. Will he do it? Kristen doesn't care what Rachel did, who she shot, or why. Rachel is the best girl who ever lived, and she deserves to be protected the same way that everyone else deserves to suffer in order to make that happen. While Kristen doesn't care about her nephew, she expects EJ to put his niece ahead of his own son. She expects the same from Marlena, as well. Sure, Johnny is her grandson, but Rachel is her step-granddaughter, so saving her is the least Marlena can do. Sarah cares about Rachel too. Most of the time, this drives Kristen crazy. But if she can use it to her advantage, Kristen is happy to appeal to Rachel's almost mother. The same goes for Brady. He and Sarah have been growing closer lately, and Rachel is a part of that. So when Brady has questions about what's going on with his little girl, and not just Kristen, but also Marlena, are stonewalling him, Sarah might be all he has. Maybe she can get through to Rachel in a way nobody else can.